I got the Clutch Culture hoodie on. Rob, especially. Rob did the heavy lifting on this. Available at hypercleanstore.com. 15% off. BF15. We'll do BF15 at checkout. Welcome to 102.3 The Jam.
All right, we're coming to everybody officially on the 1-year Podiversary of Clutch Culture. Nick, hello, congratulations. How are you?
You too, man. Congratulations. Everything's going good. Family in town. We got everything going on here.
Dude, same. As a matter of fact, I didn't even tell this, Nick, before we started recording, but I feel like we should actually drop this on Friday as people are going into the holiday weekend instead of Monday. Would you agree with that? Do you think that's a good idea?
How about everybody vote? No, I'm just kidding. I'm good with whatever, man.
Okay, cool. I think it's a good time to have people, because a lot of times when you're shopping and stuff, I always have, like, if I'm forced to go out with the wife, because I'm not necessarily going to be the one going out ever to do anything like this, put in a podcast, put in some music, and you're good to go, right?
Yeah, I think that's always a win.
So if you're new to the show and this is your first time hearing this, welcome to the #1 car culture related podcast on planet Earth. This is officially 1 year. And if you have been here for the long haul, we appreciate you. We talk about trends, we talk about news, we talk about market predictions, but more importantly, we offer you a good hang every single Monday, or in this case, if we agree to it afterwards, on Friday. Speaking of, dude, let's just get into some questions. We got stories, and if there's time, we'll get back to more questions. That's a Simpsons reference. Chief Wiggum. Love Chief Wiggum. We're going to break it down, build you back up, go to lunch, and if there's time, we'll build you back up later. Look, we had a question to start with, which I think is just like an obvious one. A lot of people are going to be wondering, do you guys actually wait for Black Friday to purchase anything online?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that you and I've talked about behind the scenes. Black Friday has morphed into this thing where now it's like Black Friday month.
Yeah.
It's Black Friday, 2 months. I just think it's wherever you're trying to shop and wherever they start to decide to run a deal. I mean, we're so far from normal Black Friday deals. It's pretty insane, no?
Yeah, I know. And then every year, too, you see those accounts that post the like nostalgic kind of videos from the 90s and early 2000s where it's people at the mall. Feels like it's a real familial time. It feels like everybody's kind of like coming together at the stores, getting together, Santa Claus photos. And then it cuts to like today and it's just like dark gray. No one's at the malls and everybody's just at home on their computer. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Cool.
And I would ask you this. Like, here's one of the weird things. And I don't know how everybody else does it, but I think this would be an interesting thing to just see people's habits. It's almost now like, what did I get in my email box? Maybe some of the manufacturers and people I follow maybe send a text message. But I think it's happening so widely in so many different times of the month of November. I mean, I even knew people at the end of October whose maybe business was struggling or whatever. That's the way I take it anyway. Mm-hmm. They're running it like from the last week of October all the way to something else, all the way through December 15th or, whatever. So I think it's lost its luster as this, like you said, almost gathering time of let's find some stuff that we want to buy. And I actually think that's kind of a shame because I think you could really create it into something special again. But now it's just a free-for-all, it feels like.
It is. And so to go to the listener questions, so shout out Kyle for asking this. Is there anything that maybe you don't plan for it, but maybe you do. Listeners want to know, do you plan for anything around Black Friday? Or is it like, if I need it at the time, this is a good time to buy it? Big, small, automotive, house? Like, is there anything you're actually looking forward to around this time of the year? Right now I need to get an air compressor for the shop. That's going to happen on this weekend. Mm-hmm. Looking at some tools you and I are talking about. Mm-hmm. We actually got another partner coming on board that we solidified this week. American-made stuff that we're pretty excited about. But yeah, I think for me personally at this point in my life, it is a lot of if I can get 20% off a big ticket, television, if you can get it, whatever it is, mine would be more big ticket at this point in my life. Yeah, we got some. So we're getting. Are you a home gym kind of guy? People are actually asking. I remember a question like, "What does Nick do to work out?" Because it seems like he's always working. That was just such a random question,
buddy. I do have a pretty extensive home gym.
Yes, yes. See, I've never asked you that, but I was curious too. But I kind of
so for people that don't know, I invested some money in a gym. I mean, now it's 15 years ago.
Many moons ago.
And I have a lot of very nice equipment left over.
You have that equipment from that gym?
Well, I mean, not the whole. I mean, it was a huge gym. Yeah, man, I have techno gym stuff. I have. Oh. Yeah, no. Here's where I'm at with the working out thing. Okay, and I want to let everybody, because we do get these questions.
Yeah.
If you can do it at your house, especially when you reach a certain busyness and age, that's your best case scenario of getting something done.
Agreed.
Right? Like I still love, and the way I grew up is I love the gym culture. The problem is like one of the biggest gym chains. I know the owners, they're real big on the West Coast. I know those guys very well personally. So literally I could walk into lots of gyms in Las Vegas and not like be on the hook for a membership. And still I go there and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of people here. And I'm to the point where the drive there, the drive home, or the showering, or at the place, going to work, it just doesn't fit. So home gym is really, I don't think people need to go crazy either. Like I'm a big pull-up bar, push-up, that kind of thing is like good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to push up 315 anymore. Like that's not really my thing.
You gave up your Jay Cutler days? No more trying to like max out on deadlift and squat and
Yeah, I mean, we do get a lot of these questions. I mean, I just think there's a lot of, and I do tell people we have a mountain right that butts up right to my house. A weighted vest and walking up the mountain, it's a pretty good workout. Like, for me, I just get to the point where, and I hope all of you take something from this. Like, I don't think you need to go crazy for a home gym. That's the other thing. I have a lot of friends that they want to get a home gym and they start pricing and they go, wow, fitness equipment's expensive. It's like, yeah, man, I don't think you need all that. Like you're a dad of 3, and you just need to get some work in. So yeah, I'm more like body weight, weighted vest, type of guy at this point. I try to stay away from, a couple shoulder surgeries will put the heavy weights off the agenda.
You have a good reason though, like I'm sure if you didn't have those shoulder surgeries, you'd be with your buddies like, all right, how much is leg press? Can I get a hack squat machine too?
Yeah, no, I loved it, man. And for anybody out there, like I still think one of the greatest things is like gym culture as a whole, getting in with a good group and whatever. And if you're 20 years old, that's a no brainer. You're 25 years old, don't have go to the gym.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You meet cool people.
Cool people, probably your future wife, if we're being honest.
Yeah. And it's a great place to meet somebody.
Great place.
So I really feel like what I tell people is it's all age dependent. And I actually would take that, even looking back at my 20s, I would have done everything the same way. Right. So I think that's the time to go and get into the gym culture and get deep into that world and have a good time with it, learn a little bit about, push yourself a little bit. Now, I really like having home gym. I got gymnastics rings. I have everything.
Do you have turf in there by chance?
What's that?
Do you have turf? Any kind of like?
No, I don't have turf. I have like zebra mats.
Oh, okay.
I have zebra mats in my gym, so I work out barefoot. I don't. Which, if you don't have zebra mats, you can get other mats at Costco or whatever. They're fine. I just happen to have some left over.
No. Zebra mats are the ones. Those are the ones you really want to have. If you're going to be working out barefoot or rolling or training, jiu-jitsu or wrestling or anything, those are the best mats.
So, and really my kids, the best part about it is like gymnastics rings, your kids are hanging on them. I got, dip bars and all that kind of stuff. So my kids can goof around in there. I got kettlebells. Set of like the power block adjustable dumbbells, like
dude, that's on my list. Adjustable dumbbells.
The power blocks. Look, man, I've had them for a very long time. They do last. I'll give them that.
By the way, I never talked about this on Clutch Culture, but your boy, I got kettlebell certified by Steve Maxwell himself.
Hey, dude, jiu-jitsu for life.
Jiu-jitsu for life. That's right. I got certified. We were rolling in between the kettlebell classes, and homeboy farted on me on accident. He's an older gentleman.
Yeah.
And it was
flatulent.
It was the funniest thing because he just didn't skip a beat. He just kept rolling. It was like, it happens.
Yeah, he's deep in the Gracie lineage. I saw that he's going to be doing some type of long interview on some type of documentary they're doing.
Don't get it wrong. What the fuck am I trying to say? I'm not sure about this, but I think he's one of the first Dirty Dozen, which was one of the first 12 black belts. I think on the Gracie lineage. But yeah, dude, super cool. There's also so much like good content from those old school like jiu-jitsu guys out there now, which is so cool to watch.
Yeah, if you ever want like an at-home workout, Steve Maxwell did some videos. I still have them saved somewhere. I have
I think I still have all my curriculum. Like it was a hellacious weekend, by the way, and then we'll get to car talk. But like it was literally 8 hours for 2 days of nothing but kettlebell work. And at the end of it, he puts you through the most hellacious like final test. And I was so close to not making it, but in my mind, I had like this Tim Grover, character in my mind, like
Yeah,
Michael
Tim
Jackson's.
Grover. That's funny. That's a deep cut.
Dude, have you read Relentless, by the way?
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah, no.
I figured. And if you haven't, by the way, huge suggestion. I highly recommend you read Relentless or anything that Tim Grover's ever done. And I just had him in my head. This was like 10 years ago, and I'm like, I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. I just plowed through.
Hey, dude, that sounds hard. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was crazy. All right, we have a lot of car news. Believe it or not, it is Black Friday weekend. It is Thanksgiving, but still a lot going on in the world. I got to start with saying, have you seen Land Rover's new Defender race car?
No, let me check it out. Hey, did you see your boy from the drug kingpin? They
Oh, in Canada?
the $13 million CLK GTR.
Well, I'll bring that one up next since you brought it up. I'm so glad you knew about that because what a crazy story.
I don't know how this happened. Am I like the only guy that doesn't know how this happened? They just like put the story out, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, I know, right? They're calling him like the next El Chapo or something like that. I'm like, how are we just hearing about this guy?
Yeah.
So I'm pulling up here, if you're watching on YouTube, Land Rover's new Defender race car, 145-gallon gas tank and flight mode for jumps. Look at this thing.
Hey, they went to a Houston rap shop.
I hope that's a compliment.
Love the camo.
Love the camo. They're in the dunes in the desert.
It looks so good. They did a good job on the Defender, man. In my opinion, design wise, I don't want people freaking out, telling me about the engine and the drivetrain. Relax. Relax.
Oh, dude. Speaking of, because it's kind of in the same family. Man, did people get upset at the Kia? I called it the Tell-You Rover. I think I called it in last week's episode.
Yeah,
and
you did.
People were like, "You don't understand how the sales are doing. If you drove it, it'd be better than any kind of luxury vehicle."
I think this is a good time to talk about this.
Let's
and share with the listeners. The comment sections of any subject on the planet, okay, really shows you why people get taken advantage of in the automotive industry.
Well said.
Okay. Nobody is arguing that Kia and Hyundai haven't done a good job in their segment. They're one of the, let's say, top 3 to 4 largest auto manufacturers globally. Nobody was talking about that. And now you see why people walk on a dealership lot and they get taken advantage of because they say to themselves, look how nice this is. Mm-hmm. Now, let me tell you why I have a different perspective. Because I have people that bring me a Palisade or a Telluride and the interior's falling apart. I'm not doing a test drive. I am seeing 1 year down the road. I'm also seeing they're on their second engine. There is the perspective difference. So there's a really good way that I heard it on a podcast, and this is what makes podcasts so powerful, is a CIA agent who spent his whole life reading people goes, most people go through life with nothing but a perception on things. And that's what we see in the automotive world. You watch something from an automotive media member, and they tell you how nice the Telluride is and how nice the Palisade is, which, by the way, when you first get in them, they're impressive. You go, oh, this company's come a long way. That's a perception because you drove it for a little bit. A perspective would be, what is that car going to be 2 years down the road? So my perspective is I can show you some neighbors I have. I can show you people that have come to me trying to get out of their deals. I can show you all these things, and I can show you dash pieces cracking in 2025. I can show you seats tearing quicker than any car that's been built. That doesn't mean I don't think that you should pass by the dealership and not test drive it. You should be aware that just because they're saying that all these things through design, quote unquote, are really, really elevated, it doesn't mean that they are when you live with the car. And that's what you see in the comment section. And what I want to say to people is, I had somebody say, go drive a Palisade, then go drive a Honda and see which one's nicer. Okay. I'm not saying that you won't get in a Palisade and go, wow, this has got a lot more bells and whistles than the Honda for the same price. I never said that.
Right.
I will say that largely I don't have people coming in a year later with a Honda saying, look at all the interior parts that are disintegrating. That really hasn't happened in my career. I'm not saying that they don't have some flaws in the interior and things that have fallen apart if you own one. I'm saying these car companies like Hyundai and Kia are putting lipstick on things without really fixing the quality issues that have been apparent in those brands for the last 35 to 40 years.
It's so
or
funny
20
you bring this
years
up.
or 15 years or whatever time frame you want to use.
So we had a team call earlier, and now we're doing the podcast same day. So early this morning, I had this video come across my feed that, non-related to the topics of today or even Nick bringing this up, but it's so shout out to Performance Overlooks. I would pull it up, but it's a really long video, so if you later want to play it, I'll play it. But the guy's an engineer, essentially, kind of like yourself, knows what he's talking about, and the title of the video is "Why I Love the Car Community." I was like, oh, why does he love the car community? In my mind, right? Because I just saw the
Yeah.
still.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as I get into it, he's like, I love the car community, right? Because when you go and you tell somebody you've done every possible experiment on track, off track about XYZ part of a car, and you explain to the audience why this is good, why this is not, the first thing you're going to see is a know-it-all, and then all the other know-it-alls behind them, right? And it was a great video. And all of his content's kind of like that, where the guy just, he tests and tests and tests, uses his engineering mind, why these brakes are good, why these aren't, slotted and drilled, outdated, you're being kind of, not coerced, but I guess in a way, like you're just being convinced that these things are better, and I'll tell you why they're not. But yet in the comments, everybody else is right. Everybody else is right, and you're wrong. And it's a similar kind of thing because we've seen it for a year now. So 12 months officially, 1 year. It's fascinating. Also, how poetic is it, Nick, that last year, we do the fiery dump, we go viral shortly after, and come full circle, a similar topic is on the verge of being another one of those viral videos, which is the Toyota subject.
Yeah. So we started talking about how special the V8 was to the Toyota brand. Mm-hmm. We cut up some clips, and people go, "No, it's the 4-cylinder, it's a 6-cylinder." Guys, the LS400 changed Toyota forever. Period. In America. What you guys experience globally, if you're listening to us, you have to understand, I don't know every experience you've had globally. I don't live there. So you might have a completely different experience than us, and I'm okay with that. You might be right. The 70 series is a big deal outside of the U.S. We don't have it. I can't sit here and tell you how it changed the culture in America. It wasn't here, right? It wasn't a part of our culture. The LS400 drops for Toyota, and everybody goes, look at the engineering chops of this company. Oh, my God, I can't believe what they did. And then they kept building on the halo of that in their brand, okay? That doesn't mean they didn't sell millions more of the 4 or the 6-cylinder. I gotcha. But you got to understand the big picture of the time when a lot of Americans were still leery of buying a Japanese vehicle. Mm-hmm. They didn't know what you know today. Again, perspective versus perception. Yep. I get it. They sell a lot of Corollas, man. You got me. Does anybody think it's a special brand because of the Corolla? You guys aren't in our comments going, can't wait to go buy a Corolla. But it's a great car. I've driven a Corolla from Vegas to San Diego for a family member. I enjoyed it because I didn't even have to really fill the tank up. And when I did, it was like $23. It was pretty comfortable.
Only car in your fleet ever to get something under $100.
It wasn't even in my fleet. That's the problem. I was doing a favor.
In your fleet for the day.
Yeah. And by the way, I had no problem driving it. I was like, for this price, pretty good car.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm feeling compelled to, just because of all of the Toyota love throughout the last 12 months, I almost feel obligated for my next purchase to be a Toyota, where I think Nick might feel the opposite sentiment because of the comment section.
Yes.
He's like, I'm going to sell this LX. You know what? Forget this platform.
And the funny part is, the reason we share this, it's Thanksgiving. It's basically a year since we started recording. I've learned a hell of a lot in a year. I mean, it's probably been one of the most informative years of my career. And I've been in cars a long time. And I'm really thankful for that, by the way, for everybody. But the problem is what I thought was going on is true. Just like you said about this video you watched this morning. This know-it-all culture is costing people billions of dollars every year. Whether that's at a mechanic or lack of a mechanic, if that's at a body shop, if that's at a dealership. This thinking you know what you're talking about when you've never done anything professionally in the car world is like me saying, I know how to run a restaurant. You guys would think I'm crazy because I would be crazy to do that. To go on a guy who's showing you how to run a restaurant and be in the comment section going, well, tomatoes. You'd be like, what? Why are you in the comment section? But the car world has normalized it. Mm-hmm. They've normalized the backyard guy, the backyard gal, acting as if they're as knowledgeable as the oil geek who literally made oil for a living, that you know more than him. I just don't know why you would do that. But that is what costs everybody all of this money.
Dude, delusion is a hell of a drug. And I have a note in my phone called Car Insights, and I always add reels and stories and things that I think are noteworthy to later talk about either on an episode or even just in a chat that Nick and I might have during the week. And a while, weeks and weeks back, Nick and I were talking on the phone. I think it was either before or after a podcast, and it was something to the effect of like, as the podcast was growing and still is growing, or just like the industry at large is growing, it's growing in a different direction, because we always talk about how 10 years ago,
yes.
15 years ago, it's a completely different world. And we kind of felt like we were starting to be on the other side of something. I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you remember
yes.
this conversation.
Yes.
And some of the videos that I've seen recently, I wrote it in my insights note probably 5 days ago. And I'm starting to, and it's literally as you're talking, it's kind of coming to me right now that we're on the other side of this world that we've been talking about for a year, where people are more widely acknowledging the things that we're saying now, like outside of our like maybe they don't listen to us. Obviously, they're just making their own car videos, and it's the regular dudes and girls that are literally like, wait a minute, they're like rubbing their eyes, like, oh, this is all like make believe. It's that meme where like, wow, It's the land of make believe, right? Yeah. And they're literally coming to themselves being like, car culture isn't real on the internet. Nobody builds cars that they like. They just want to one up each other and just buy the next thing. They're not building anything. They're not making things that they like. They're just building things that they think the internet's going to like, and so on and so forth. And I think we've been on the other side of that now for a year. And prior to doing the podcast, we had the same sentiment, in our real lives before we started recording stuff. And now that I've said this, I think you're going to see a lot more of these videos, because I just constantly see it, man. People are just like, they are not, fed up isn't even the right phrase. I think
it's not really, I agree. That's not really it. It's just sort of tired.
Yeah, fatigued almost.
Yeah. So I'll tell you something that really frustrates me, and that frustration turns to, I feel really bad for people. Is I had a guy on one of our overlanding videos about the GX 550 go, I can't do overlanding because I can't afford things like this. Mm. And he was serious. And if he's listening, I want you to know I loved your comment and I loved your responses. And I go, that's just not true. There's people that buy Gladiators, used Gladiators for $15,000, drop $5,000, and they're out on the trail for 19, 20 grand.
Yeah.
Well, all of the equipment is so expensive. Yeah, man. If you want to buy the best of the best in any world, that costs a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean you can't go have an experience. That's where car culture on the internet's lied to you. Most of these guys are financing the cars, number one. They don't actually own them. Yeah. In some cases, the sponsors are buying the cars, and you're unaware of that. There's another little dirty secret, which, by the way, great for them. But you don't know that that's happening. So you feel like, well, if I go buy that Gladiator, that's not as cool as a GX 550. Why not? It's what you can afford. This is always about get in where you fit in at the moment.
Yeah.
And guess what? You'll do better in your career. You'll get better at whatever you do. You'll age a little bit, and then you'll be the guy buying a GX 550 and wrecking it in the trails. And you'll be like, isn't this great? But 23 years old, nobody hardly has ever been able to buy the top of the top and the elite of the elite. And so what we've done is, while car culture's bigger on the internet, it's shrunk outside of that. Because people go, well, I can't buy a McLaren, so why would I buy a sports car? They say this to themselves because we see it in the comments. This isn't me like making something up. We've gotten those comments like, well, I mean, I can't afford a GT3, so what's the point? I don't know. There's like 8,000 cars you could buy that are a hell of a lot of fun, and you're just at the point where you're at. That's all. So we've lost this. Everything is a step towards something else, right? And that, for all of you out there, again, the clutch culture year comes down to, I want you to feel this. Buy what you can buy. And who cares about the rest of it? Who cares what somebody's doing on the internet? Who cares what I think is cool? It's not my car. right? That's what's so funny about the Toyota fanboys. I own more Toyotas than any of those guys commenting, guaranteed.
Yeah.
I've put my money where my mouth is. I have the experience. You don't. I know I've owned more than 99% of people walking the earth. And you guys still think, as fanboys, you know better than the guy that's owned 10x what you've owned. That'd be like me saying, I got clients that own 100 cars in their car collection. I know what it's like to own those. No, I don't. I've never foot the bill. Now, I see the bills, and I can tell you what this cost, but the experience of cutting the check, I don't have that. I just see the checks. I just see what it costs. I just do the numbers, right? So I have a little bit of an ancillary experience to these guys. But there's people that will tell me about car collections that never have seen a single finance number from running a car collection. But I want everybody to hear this from us constantly. Get in where you fit in. There's something cool in your price range to buy. And if it ain't cool, make it cool.
That's the big thing, right? If it ain't cool, make it cool.
Yes. And I felt for that guy. He's like, well, I just can't go on the trails they can go on. BS. I guarantee you there's something in your price range. And yeah, man, there may be a little bit of a headache to it. You may have to replace a radiator or 2 or 5 or whatever. I don't know. You could have some problems. But so did the guy who owns the GX550 now. When he first started, he had the same problems you have. Same ones. Couldn't afford what he wanted, had to get something. That's how he got into it. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. And that's why I've said I've learned more in the last year, because I didn't realize how many people were sitting on the sidelines going, I can't afford this elite level thing, so I'm not going to buy anything. And that maybe shows you why some people don't buy a Miata as a sports car. Well, that's not a McLaren. Well, nobody said it was, but it's what you can afford.
Yeah, famously, one of the hosts of Throttle House, he had a Jaguar F-Type, right? Love those cars. Which, by the way, one of the ones you can get now for like $40,000. By the way, great car. He ended up selling it for a Miata. It was just more enjoyable. It was more of the kind of car that he wanted to, take on the weekends at the track, daily drive or whatever, because that's what was cool to him, and that's what what made his life fulfilled or whatever. So it is kind of just buy what you can afford, and also like it doesn't have to be the last thing you have, right? We know it's not going to be the last thing. No,
it's not.
And in the moment, for some reason, a lot of people always feel like, well, this thing, even if you do end up keeping it your whole life, it doesn't mean you're going to not have something else along with it. So
absolutely.
Back to what you were saying, like get in where you fit in, and the internet's kind of fed you a lie for a long time. After a year of doing the show, we've started to work with a couple of people slowly behind the scenes, and the reason I think is that like. Like, look, if we have a video, which we've had several now that have reached 1 million plus views, we'd be lucky to get 1% of those people that understand the larger picture of the overall conversation we've been having for a year, or even in that 1 hour podcast. It's just not that many people. In the large scheme of things, as we do more, that population will grow of people that understand it. But I mean, at the end of the day, if we did, when we do this another year and beyond, it's going to be like 1% of a million, 1% of a million, if we're lucky, and then eventually have a huge audience that understands it. Yeah. Right now it is large, but man, when you see some of the comments in the comment section, you're like, there's no way this ever breaks through to, the masses. But it's just a slow process.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I'm not saying any of this to complain. It's been great for me.
Oh, it's been awesome.
It's been great for me to learn and see what I thought in my small bubble, of my world that I've developed as a business, to see that a lot of the things I was seeing is really the problematic stuff is, guys and gals walking on a dealership lot and having no idea what to do, but convinced that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I watched that for a lot of years in my business. And I always felt horrible when somebody brought me a deal and I had to go, hey man, this is just going to cost a lot of money to get out of. And their head kind of slouches down and they slouch down in the chair and you go, the numbers are the numbers, right? But that starts from thinking you know what you're doing when you don't. I follow guys like the Car Care Nut and all these guys that we say all the time to you guys that like, hey man, they're doing good stuff. Doesn't mean I agree with every word anybody says. That's not the world. But if you listen to those people, forget Rob and Nick, if you listen to people that have been doing it a long time at a high level, you can pick up a lot of things that help you. But you can't pick up anything if you go, wow, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I don't know, man. People are sending every Toyota and Lexus to this guy from out of state on the planet. he can't build a big enough garage. I'd say he's probably pretty good at what he does. I mean, call me nuts.
They'll call you nuts.
You
You know
know,
what else you can pick up right now? Can we get an RVD
hey,
with that hoodie on?
hey, look at the Clutch
RVD.
Culture hoodie, Rob.
Let's
yeah,
go.
So I got the Clutch Culture hoodie on. Rob, especially. Rob did the heavy lifting on this. Available at hypercleanstore.com. 15% off. BF15. You know, we'll do BF15 at checkout. Welcome to 102.3 The Jam. You know, so go pick up a hoodie. We got a limited number of them. If they're popular enough, guys, we'll restock on them. We love having stuff out there. But I'll say it's a soft hoodie. It's a soft hoodie.
Dude, I got to place my order for one because I didn't leave one, behind for myself. So I got to place an order along with
you don't
other
get
stuff.
to use the code. We put that on your account. No code for Rob.
By the way, it's store-wide, by the way, and everything else you want to pick up along the way at hypercleanstore.com, whether it's Eco One, like I said, I love to do for the rinseless. I've had too many car trips back and forth, so I gotta whip out the pressure washer next time and wash the car. So I'm going to get that. And I was going to say, and I've said it before because I've never done it, do you trust my abilities in polishing my own car?
Yes.
Okay.
If you have the right machine, it's very safe. It's hard to mess up to the point of non-fixable, which is what's the most important thing.
Right. So if I pick up the Liquid Elements polisher you guys carry, you think I won't screw it up?
No question.
If I screw it up, will you pay for it to fix it?
I will not. That we do not take any no exchanges, Rob. No exchanges.
No responsibility taken on Hyperclean.
Yeah. So great hoodie. And it's just the start of us trying to put out stuff that we'd want to wear so everybody knows how I operate. If I won't wear it, if I won't use it, we don't carry it.
Yeah, it's true.
Like that's my team can vouch for that. I don't do the whole it's good enough. It's like if I don't wear it, if I don't use it, we're not going to put it in our store. And so everything that you guys ever see at Hyperclean Store, I'll use or it won't be there.
Yeah, which, by the way, call back again to Tim Grover. Read the book. You'll know exactly who Nick is in the book once you're done reading it. Cleaner, closer, you'll figure it out. I think you'll know right away. All right, we got a couple of questions, too. We do got stories and more questions. Let me toggle back here. So we talked about the gym equipment. That is also what I'm looking to buy this Black Friday. That is about it. I got a new freezer because I got some, dude. The Wagyu, the steaks, the meat, all that kind of stuff, was running out of space in the house. I finally got a deep freezer. We were, just about time. One of the best investments ever is having a freezer in your garage. Make the space. If you say you don't have space for it, make the space for a freezer.
Yeah, so everybody knows my role here is I go local, meaning like I don't mean local to like Vegas, but I buy from farmers. I know we get that question a lot. So when I buy beef, I had somebody ask me this because this is pretty well known. I hardly ever eat anything but beef. I eat steak and beef like 99% of the time. I just never been a big chicken guy or anything like that. So I gotta find some ways to curb that price. So I do buy a lot at a time from farms across the country. Actually, one of my favorite ones is down in Texas right now.
Word. Okay. Yeah. I mean, no such thing as too much red meat for Nick.
I hear you. No.
Which I love it. I mean, I'm the exact same way. I'll splash, the occasional chicken here and there, but usually it's always some kind of beef.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. What do we got here? Ooh, okay. Let's see. If you were going to buy... So I put the bat signal out last week about trucks. Like I said, been needing one. Like the freezer was a good example of that. Put out the back signal of if you were buying a truck to our audience on Instagram in 2025, 2026, what would you buy? And honestly, man, there was no consensus from our audience. Like everybody was... Which is kind of another good example of like... Everybody's so different. Everything's so subjective. I mean, the only things that were most repeated were Gen 1 Raptor, and I don't know if it's because you've been saying it for the last year.
Hey, a good crowd, whoever that is.
Dude, Gen 1 Raptor was the most repeated one, and then an older Tundra was also the only one that was repeated.
Yeah, be a good one. I have an older Tundra.
Oh, that's right. So other than that, I mean, you had like, get a 7.3, which gotta love the old 7.3 Fords, Gen 2 Lightning, which is really what I'm leaning towards. But it's funny, like, it was all over the place. Like you could tell everybody had their favorite years and favorite generations of trucks. So other than Gen 1 Raptor and like a 2022, something like that, Tundra, no, everyone else was all over the place. Would you, because someone actually said, this is a great topic. I'm also looking, I had that a couple of times. I mean, you've had so many trucks. If you were buying in today's, 25, 26 prices, no matter the year, what would you tell the listeners that are looking for trucks soon?
Tundra's a great choice, right?
Always a great choice.
It's a great choice. I've had several running in my business. I've also had, Rams in my business. I haven't really had much Ford and Chevy, to be honest with you. But there's some Chevy platforms and some Ford platforms that have been very, very durable. The question I'd ask myself on a truck, if it was something I just wanted it to be a reliability thing and less of a cool thing, I think your choices are a little different, right? I mean, for me, if I can go back and get that original Gen 1 Raptor, part of it is the bulletproof engine. Part of it is I think it's cooler than the Raptors out now, although they've done a great job with Raptor. I'm not saying they haven't. They've done but I stay away from the EcoBoost lineup that has some problems show up. We've actually done engine replacements on those. Again, not an opinion. This is things that have happened. But I would be, do I want fun? Which I think puts you right in what you are, Lightning, Gen 1 Raptor. I don't care about the bill. I'm going to, trick this thing out. I'm going to do all the suspension bits. I'm going to, all that kind of stuff. Or is this just something that I want to have as an extra vehicle that's just kind of a workhorse? And I think that puts you into Tundra. There's some Nissan Titans that have some very, very good engines. Look, my business partner, Marshall, had a Titan do massive mileage.
Really?
Yeah. He had it, shout out Marshall. He had it do some massive, and I know other people that had great luck with those early and mid Titan years. But I think you got to make that call about a truck. And this sounds crazy because people are like, well, a truck's just to beat up. Well, if you buy a Ford Lightning, it's not really to beat up.
Yeah,
right?
you're probably going to take the tow package off anyway. You're going with it. You're just going to put stuff in the bed, which is great because I think those are 6.5 foot beds, which is like way better than most, 5 foot boxes now.
But what if you went and found yourself a little Avalanche?
I know
you've been thinking about it. I know you've been thinking about it. Hey, truck guy just swerved off the road.
Dude, I really have, and it's funny. In the comments of those videos that I've been looking at, it's like I've never seen an Avalanche tow something, and in my mind, I think they're right. Would you agree with that? But I mean, I don't think it's about the towing if you're getting an Avalanche. You just want the functionality of having a bed.
Yeah, you just want like a little bed. You don't. I mean, let's be honest. Your ranch days are over.
Well, I mean, for now, until I reacquire what's left of the ranch later.
What's mine? Is that what you're about to say? Hey, you can't really say things like that on the internet these days.
Pretty much. I'll see my siblings tomorrow. I don't care. I'll say it. I put the work in here.
You guys are out. I'm in. The Kenny Powers.
You're fucking out.
I mean, are you gutsy enough to go diesel?
As a matter of fact, when I saw here, shout out to Christian 7.3 Godzilla, the F250. I love those, and as a matter of fact, there's a new King Shock system. This is how much I've actually been looking into it. That have redeveloped to take out the leaf springs and just have like this great ride on the older 7.3s, and that's what like really set me over the edge to like, can I find? But these are like literally buying bricks of gold. Like these things are pretty expensive right now.
Well, and that's why I always talk fondly about the Excursion from that time.
Yeah, absolutely.
See, to me, if I'm going F250, it'd be real hard for me not to get an Excursion. I just think they're so unique and cool. I know people are going to disagree because they're like, well, I need a truck. I'm just telling you, if I was searching on the internet and I had both tabs open and I was about to wire the money, it'd be real tough for me not to wire the money to the person with the Excursion.
Would you keep the LX or get rid of it?
I always tell people that there's certain... I still have my old Dodge. I have a lot of older stuff. I have somehow, unbeknownst to me, knowing it was happened, become one of those guys that keeps a lot more things than I ever thought I would.
You're a hoarder, but you're making everybody feel like you're not a hoarder.
I know. It's horrible. So it's one of those things like LXs, it would probably go. It becomes a space thing at that moment in time. So I'm not ready to make the change yet. And also, I think as we see the softening of the economy, I think people are going to be real shocked at how some of this stuff wears off, right? So, and again, I don't know to what percentage, so nobody send in a DM. I'm not making some prediction on how much, but this can't continue. And the economy's kind of saying that to you. Behind the scenes, companies are talking about it, big companies, small companies, like, we're here now. This isn't going to keep going the way everybody thinks. And there's going to be some ramifications to these platforms that we all think are great. that maybe are not collector's items, right? That you're still having to pay high prices on. I just saw a Tahoe from like 2012 and a guy was asking like 32,000, 34,000. And I just go, I hope you get it, brother. I'm not rooting against you here. But is that going to stay strong as the economy weakens? That's where I get a little bit. I don't know how patient I would be if I needed a vehicle. The answer is I wouldn't be probably.
Right.
But if you don't need something right this second, would I maybe let the next 6 months play out? I'd be inclined to do that.
Oh, absolutely. So no free shout out. So one of the car finders that we use and look at, I realized the other day they've rolled out like a beta version of historical data for cars that usually isn't available unless you have some sort of like a paywall service through somebody. But anyway, it's free to the public, and just looking at price histories of Lightnings or whatever else, it's really fascinating to see what just happened in the last 3 years. 4 years max.
And what's even happened in the last 6 months?
Yeah,
There's some
true.
platforms that are falling. And I don't mean like
in the inverse. Yeah,
they're not in a free fall. It's just like, here's $3,000 less here. Here's another 1,000 it lost. Here's another. And again, we're not talking about $500,000 cars, guys. I mean, that's a little bit of a different market. But the sub 100,000 market, you've seen some price decrease. Okay, not on every platform. I know that, but on a lot of platforms. And I got several messages of people looking for LXs and asked if I ruined the LX 470 market, by the way. Brian, shout out, was one of the first ones, but I got 2 more DMs about it. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. I got to take credit for something. But guys, I really want to ease people's mind. I don't know what's going to happen. I think it's worth waiting 3-6 months. I think the winter time could really provide value where you see things that maybe were $50,000 fall to 45, 44. Might be a good time to jump instead of the 50 for some people. Get that $5,000 to $6,000. I don't think it's going to go in half or anything. Could, but it's not what I'm saying is going to happen. But I think you could see 10%, 15%, and in some cases we've already seen that start to happen.
Dude, funny enough, in the Lightnings, just because I keep bringing it up, but I was looking at that one most recently. $15,000 about 3 years ago was the average price in the U.S. for a Lightning with like 50,000 miles, 60,000 miles. It doubled in the last 3 years. Now they're average going for 30 and above.
Yeah, and that could fall down to 22.
Yeah, which makes way more sense.
Right? It could.
Yeah.
Every platform is going to be different, but this is why we kind of tell you guys, put a tab open, keep your eye on it, keep refreshing it, keep understanding what's happening on the things you're looking at.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to tell people is that once you hone in on something, time is your friend, not your enemy. So don't wait 10 years and not get the experience. Let's be clear about it, because I think that's what a lot of people are doing.
Yeah.
Relax, okay? 10 years is not what we're saying. But if you started looking now and you ended up buying next August, do I think that's the worst way to handle yourself? I don't think so, right? That's perfectly okay, or 6 months or 4 months or whatever. But time is your friend, especially when you start feeling the uneasiness in certain parts of the market, like I think we're starting to see now.
Absolutely. Gonna rapid fire a few here. Just MM Photography, pre-19 Sierra, tough, has class. Post-19 Sierra, lacks quality. Which, by the way Nick says, almost exactly like what I said, XYZ, Jason Camisa, or whoever else. I've seen a lot of my takes being, regurgitated through not just listeners, but on other videos. I've always said 19, prior to 19 is what most people right now are like, ooh, I should go back and get something from 18, 19.
Yeah.
General Raptor, Show Topic, Raptor, 9907, 5.3 Silverados, which I've been talking about those as well. The GMT 800 platform, great trucks, but those as well are going.
Yeah, when I was looking for a family, before we bought the GX, I was going to go Suburban.
That's great.
And I was looking at the 17s. I mean, the most dependable year when you research it, least amount of problems for, a newer generation, not going all the way back to the early 2000s or anything like that. Guys, that data's out there. Yeah. So if you're looking for a platform, really go research, let's say a platform runs from 2000 to 2010. There's data on which year is the best year of those built. So then you go, okay, I like that body style for those 10 years. Go find out which is the most reliable year. Hone in on that year. That's your tab that's open. Be resigned to find that year. Now, I don't always do that, right? Sometimes you got to go, I got to bend a little bit. I got to get one of them. But that's the kind of research that any of us can do, and hopefully that helps some people.
Ocho Tex, would you please start wearing a Rangers hat instead of a dirty Astros hat? I'm going to have to go. Ocho Tex, I'm going to go block your ass from the show.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
Kidding.
You
Just
know?
kidding. No, fam, I can't. Sorry. H-Town till I die. But not really. Just the team.
Yeah, you
Nick,
moved. You moved.
Gladly, happily, Central Texas is amazing. It's God's country out here. Nick, how do you find a good mechanic? This is such a good question, and I'm really straightforward with it with my response, and I'll let Nick kind of give his, is literally just go out and talk to shops, because I think that's going to give you the first feeler of like, these are cool people, this is a cool owner, if you can talk to the owner, and test the waters for something small, make sure they completed it the way that you wanted, that you needed, that you saw everything, and, you know, was tip-top shake magoo kind of thing, and then just go run the gamut. There's only so many shops that you can go to within a reasonable distance that you're willing to drive to anyway, so just talk to them all.
Yeah, I think the internet's your friend here. You know, you can find out a lot about people. I don't put too much into reviews all the time, but if somebody's at 1,000 5-star reviews and hardly anything else, and you go there and they got a pretty pristine garage and they're professional at the front desk, I think you can probably guess they're doing okay. You know, they're probably pretty good people. But I'm a vibe guy. I've walked in a ton of garages. I go, oh, I don't want my car here.
Dude, that might be the spring shirt. I'm a vibe guy.
Yeah,
Imagine.
like I'm a vibe guy. Like I really am, and I know that doesn't answer the question directly, but you have to get some senses about how good people talk in life, how a good restaurant owner runs a restaurant. Like this stuff is all, to me, it's pretty ubiquitous. You know, when I walk into a store to buy something, and I don't care what store. You know, Walmart would be a good example of this. When I go to Walmart, I know I'm just one of the sheep in there to buy something cheap.
Yeah.
Okay? It's very evident with the vibe of the place. Doesn't make it a bad place, doesn't mean you shouldn't go there. Costco, same thing. Okay? You're just one of the people. They can tell you how much they care about you. Let's be honest. Okay?
There's levels to it, but yes, I agree.
It's what it is. So when you're shopping for aftermarket shop, mechanic, whatever the case may be, the vibe when you walk in the door is really the most important thing. And I've said this, and people disagree because they have a mechanic that was a mess once upon a time. If the garage is a mess, there's a lot of cars outside the garage. There's a lot of dead cars outside the garage. I'm going, what the hell's going on here? And I'll give you an example of this just in my business park.
Please.
In my business park, we have a meticulous mechanic. In my business park, a building over, we have a mess of a body shop. I can tell you which one I'm taking my cars to.
Every time.
Every time. That body shop, which I could send a lot of work, I went over there because it was close to me, so it would help me with my customers. I walked in, I go, this place is a frickin' mess. The body shop that I use, I had the one that I originally, he shut her down and said it's time for me to go down to retire. Mm-hmm. When you walked into his body shop and you walk into the current body shop I use, it's spotless. They do the most complete work. They're not perfect by any means. They got some things that sometimes you find, okay, if you use people enough, humans are humans. They always fix it. But when you walk in, there's a professional person sitting there. The office is professional. You look out into the shop, it's clean. It's not perfect, okay? There's a difference between cleanliness and doing work, right? When you're doing work, it's not going to be the cleanest all the time. But you can see that there's a process in what they do. And process is what gets your cars fixed properly.
Yeah. Right?
That's what gets your cars fixed properly. So if they can't put their tools back, if they got an engine laying on the ground because they're working on it or just tore it out, that's not a negative. I don't want people to misunderstand this. But if there's oil everywhere in the shop that's not related to that engine they just pulled, I'm going, why is there oil? I mean, nobody just threw
some questions over here?
Yeah, I mean, and nobody just threw down some sawdust and said, let's clean this up, or, let's clean this thing up. So that doesn't answer, but the internet can provide you a lot of insight too. Okay, don't put stock into reviews. I want to say that. Like, don't let that be your deciding factor all the time. But it can be a start to you finding a shop that you want to go visit and talk to the people and explain what you want with your car. And I think that's one of the things as an owner of an aftermarket shop I want to say to guys, you got to tell people what's important to you. There's no way for me to know what's important to you unless you tell me. Now, my questions I ask people, I get that information. That's part of being a good owner. But if you walk in and you go, man, I am real particular about my wheels, then guess what, man? They're going to take care of your wheels the way you want. You know, just like if you have aftermarket wheels and you go to a discount tire that you have a relationship with. Mm-hmm. Manager sees you, hey, Rob, what's up? Nick, what's up? Dude, I just got these new aftermarket wheels. Can you please make sure your guys, like, you know I always tip your guys. I just don't scratch them. Don't. Yeah, man, we got you. But they don't know you're that particular if you don't kind of lead with that and go, man, I'm just a real particular about my wheels. It's just the thing I love the most. Or if you're real particular about the exhaust sound you want, or the type of work that you want done, you can't be scared to tell people how it is for you, because I can promise you as an owner, I love that. I just go, hey, man, cool. I'm glad you're upfront with me. But there's a fine line between doing that like a jerk and coming at people going, hey, man, I realize I'm kind of picky. I just kind of like this the way I like it. They're like, oh, it's all good, man. No worries.
You know, you're talking about the aftermarket support and businesses. I had this sent to me a couple of times. They're similar videos, but similar videos with similar captions. Me watching overland companies go out of business that charged astronomical prices for Chinese products. I'm just like, dude, we've been talking about this on the podcast. Please tell me you've listened to it. So that's going to be another big thing that we see going into next year as well. Like that genie is completely out of the bottle post this SEMA of this year.
Yeah, and the attack dog is out, right?
Yeah.
The manufacturers from overseas, they've released the dogs. They're like, hey, we're going to let everybody know you guys aren't building this. There seems to be
Carter.
There actually seems to be animosity, which is pretty rare. Coming from a manufacturer. Now they have animosity towards, like, we got to keep our factory running. You guys aren't selling enough. We'll show you.
Yeah.
Right. And the wheel market is exploding, you know, into bits and pieces right now because of this. And you have to also be aware that sometimes the quality control of that company that maybe doesn't build something, it gives you peace of mind that at least they checked it. You know, so some of that might be worth it for you. And some of you guys might be going, hey, man, going to Temu, I don't care. I'll go. Right? Not everybody's built that way. I mean, I can tell you customers that would just overpay to feel better about it. Like, they just want to feel like there's a company behind it and at least it went through their warehouse and that makes me feel better. There's no right or wrong here.
No, you're right. And just it also depends on what kind of a person like you consider yourself to be, because I think I tend to lean on the side that like I would pay more, especially like, look, if it's not manufactured in the US, at least if there's a US company that's trying to make it all, you know, put it all together with good quality assurance and such, I'd rather go that route, honestly. And what's funny too is that I'm seeing way more business type videos that are talking, you always hear about NDAs, but you never hear anybody talk about NNNs. And all of a sudden, you know what I mean? And like, I'm like, wait a minute. Like, never, Nick, never have I heard anybody talk about that, which for a lot of people that don't know is similar to NDA, but way more strict. And it's a different kind of a thing. And what you would know in manufacturing in China. And it's like, okay, where is this going? Like, I feel like everything is coming to another side of another hill again.
Yeah. I mean, NDAs are really big in my business. I deal with them every day, 24/7. And I think the big misunderstanding with people is a piece of paper doesn't stop people from doing stuff.
Yeah.
Because you got to enforce it, which means you got to hire an attorney and you got to go to battle, and that's millions of dollars usually, and that's just not how it happens. And so just like somebody looking for a good mechanic, when you're in manufacturing, you got to be a good partner, and that's only going to be as solid as the people behind the company. And I think that's what we're seeing falter. Look at the First Brands. What was it called? First Choice Brands or First Brands, whatever the private equity firm that bundled all those aftermarket, companies together. Why did that fail? Why do they not care about quality? Why did they go into bankruptcy? Well, because the private equity fund has no soul. There's no human being behind that, right? It's just a money-making machine. And so when you see that they bought up Fram and you go, oh, Fram isn't to quality. Yeah, they don't care. Right? So you have to make the change. You got to go, hey, man, maybe I used Fram filters my whole life, and now it's not the same. Okay, it's time to look for a new one. And what you want to look for are the people behind things. And that's what I hope, and I think that's what's going to happen in the marketplace, is that people are going to be looking for who are the human beings behind this, which is something we probably should have never gotten away from as a society in the first place, especially in the car world. That's the importance of going to, oh my God, this mechanic's been in the community for 40 years and everybody loves them and they do fantastic work. Your search is over, guys. Like, that's the person to go to. But, and Rob, you know this better than anybody, dealing with shops the way you do and being around people like myself, when they give you a price, that's where the whole problem comes, because you don't want to pay the high quality price. And that's your decision.
Yeah.
But you're more likely to get, quote unquote, ripped off going to the cheap guy than going to the guy that's been in the community for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, who's just at a price point that you don't agree with. That's not a real reason to go, I didn't go to a high quality mechanic. I understand everybody's budget concerns, but we're getting asked about how to find high quality mechanics. High quality mechanics charge a high quality price. And you got to be willing to pay it.
Of course, yeah, for sure. And I talked months ago when I had the hail damage repaired. There's a couple other little things that I want to get done that wasn't related to the hail that I want the shop to do. And hopefully, he's a super cool guy, but he's so busy and like been in the game so long that I don't know how enthusiastic he is about doing content, for instance. But if he's down, like I want him to fix some things, because if anything, because the GTI is going to get some things done to it next year, wrapping it and then going through my process. If I don't learn how to like paint correct, which I love the color of the car, but like if I wrap some part of the car, coating it, like using the HyperClean products, just because I want to get more familiarized with like taking care of the car. Yep. It's got 120,000 miles. And earlier you were talking about the quality of stuff too, the Tellurides, the Kias, the Hyundais and all that. The car's got 120,000 miles. It's 7, 8 years old now. And it is, I mean, there's nothing in that car that's fading. Nothing is ripping. Nothing is, the quality of that. Now I've had Dodges, I've had Fords, all of them at 7, 8 years, approaching that 10 years, completely falling apart.
Yeah. No, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
Right? It's a real thing. And then also you got to say, how you use your car has maybe contributed to staying in good shape. Is that it's mainly just you in the car at times. Yeah. You're driving it back and forth. You're not a slob. You're not going to tear your car up. That's a part of it, right? So you don't want to put all the blame on Ford or Dodge or Hyundai or Kia. I mean, but there are cars that stay together better than other cars.
Absolutely.
And you have found one of those.
I know you don't like snacks in your car, but the snack caddies are definitely messy in the back. And I'm like, kids, come on, guys. Like,
that's crazy. Why is there
stuff on the seat?
Snack caddy is a wild move.
I got two. I got two boy-girl snack caddies in the back of the car. So,
wow.
Practice, school, practice. I gotta feed these little monsters.
Look at you going to the league, huh? We got to go to a lot of practices. We're headed to the league.
Welcome to the show. One day I'm going to be like, welcome to the show, son, we're here.
You're going to be on this video game one day, boy.
Yeah, right. All right. Your seat's over there. My seat's right here as we watch the game. All right. We still got some more time here. Do you think, I don't know how much insight you're going to have into this, but do you think the EPA will actually be neutered in the car industry? Kind of misspelled there, but I think that's what you meant, sir. I personally think there are some things they're trying to rescind. They've talked about emission standards going into 2027 or 2028. The endangerment findings from like the Obama era, rolling some of that back. That's kind of what started the whole EV mandate back in 13, 14, something like that. So I think things are being made, man, but all that stuff moves so slowly. We've seen a lot of moves in the diesel world as well, with emissions being rolled back. But again, slow process. But I think if you're into that world, you should stay up to it because things are moving.
Yeah, I also want to be the voice of reason here, that not every decision has been EPA regulated. Mm-hmm. Some of these car companies made decisions because they wanted to make more money, which they're a business. That's what they're supposed to do, right? And they've slid a lot of things that they've done to consumers under the guise of the government told us to do this. And then you research it and you go, I don't know that was really that true. Some of it was true. Not all of it's true. It's just like we told you guys, you got to be a real unseasoned person to go, all these job losses are AI. No, you lose job losses when the economy goes down the last 100 years. And if a company can go, we're going to lay off 30,000 people and they can blame it on AI, that lets them off the hook. So they're using it to get off the hook. And you have the same thing, not everything. I realize there's some standards that have forced things in the automotive industry. Don't get it twisted. Some unfair regulations, some unfair timelines, some unfair things have happened that have put these manufacturers in tough spots. Nobody told GM to gather your data. That wasn't regulated by anybody.
Yeah.
They did that. But you'll see the narrative as they get blowback. Well, what you don't understand, and there's this one random government regulation that, by the way, is 7,000 pages that none of you would understand the legalese in it. They know that, and they're going to make you believe it was some outside force. That's not true either. It's always somewhere in the middle. Okay? Nobody told all these car companies to start shoving turbos into their daily drivers. They did it anyway. They didn't have to do that to meet EPA regulations. Did they? No, because they've made 4-cylinder engines all over the world that weren't turbo, but they wanted to make you believe they could give you more power, didn't care about the reliability of a turbo engine, didn't care about the maintenance that was going to come along with a turbo. They wanted to give you more power, and this allowed them to build a smaller engine, get to the EPA regulations, but they could have done that without adding the turbo. They didn't do that,
100%.
right?
100%.
So, but they'll tell you under the guise of the EPA, this is why we did everything. That's not true, right? So you can't be a cynic and say, government's the problem. When car companies show you, they make a lot of decisions that aren't government regulated, that are bad for you, the consumer, like you having to pay for heated seats every month. The government didn't regulate that. They did. So when people show you those things as car companies, you got to be somebody that goes, yep, government regulation has a hand in this, no question. But nobody told Mary Barra to get rid of Apple CarPlay so she could steal your data. Nobody told her to do that.
As a self-proclaimed capitalist pig, I will say, that it just is what it is because these companies want to make more money. We talked about shareholder, interest last week. And if you just go back to early 2000s, this is why I'm such a big proponent of just trying to buy as much American-made manufactured stuff or American-made sourced or what have you. Because when you go back to 01 to 08, I mean, you're talking about 3.5+ million manufacturing jobs were lost when everybody offshored stuff. And now with AI and then the data and all that, I mean, in my opinion, you're probably going to see that double because the output's going to be so much more intensified for a duration of time. I don't know how long, but you're going to see a lot of people also out of work. Some of it was regulations, but other half of it was probably just, hey, we can make more money, shareholders, so on and so forth.
And that's what I think makes the conversation balanced, right? Mm-hmm. Is that you want to be the person, and look, everyone's going to be around family and friends at the holidays. You're going to be able to pick out who is the person living in the real world of how things actually work.
Yeah.
And how many people are picking a side, which, by the way, whatever side you're on is wrong. Guaranteed. Okay? Because it's always something in the middle.
Yeah.
Right? It's all politics, car stuff. It's always something in the middle of the government regulated this. But by the way, we've done all of these other money-making schemes that had nothing to do with the government. But we can blame it on the government, so we get the cover, just like we said with the AI job loss thing. Sure, it's going to happen. I mean, people lost jobs that in the horse business when cars became a thing, right? That is what happened. But that wasn't all the immediate job loss. There was other things in the economy that lead to that. So one of the things about the car companies is we actually are probably, pretty fair and go, they've been put in some rough spots. I mean, the governments around the world put them in some rough spots. I'll be the first one to say that.
Since the 70s.
And I've said it. Yeah, I've said it a million times. That doesn't mean everything is on the government.
Yeah.
Nobody told VW to do the Dieselgate thing. That wasn't the government.
The original gate of all gates.
Yeah.
Not Inflate Gate, it was Dieselgate.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't the government, right? Well, we were trying to meet standards. Yeah, but that didn't mean you had to cheat the data. Like, you chose to cheat the data. That can't be blamed on the government, right? I get it that the regulation was part of that, but lying about the data was the choice you made.
Whole nother decision.
Right?
Yeah.
So we can say that's the perfect thing to look back on and go, yes, this was government regulated. You chose to lie. Instead of just fixing your issues, you said,
I read
in
in the memo we should lie a little bit to our consumers.
I mean, but and we see this from commenters all the time. Look, man, you want to be anti-government. I had somebody tell me that they should roll back safety regulations.
Okay, so that was the guy in the video from the 80s where he's upset he can't drink in his car anymore without a seatbelt.
Yeah. You guys like, well, if I can get a $20,000 truck, just do away with all the safety stuff. And I go, are you advocating for safety rollbacks? Like, you want to put your kid in this truck and have no crumple zone?
He's like, I drove a Pinto. Oh, it's fine.
I mean, guys, some of this stuff is like, I'm one of the staunchest people that says your car shouldn't beep at you for not wearing a seatbelt in the thing that you pay for. I also understand the importance of them probably having some seatbelt regulations. Like, I don't think it should tell me what to do inside something I pay for. That's my stance. I'm not going to be the guy that goes, let's get rid of crumple zones so people die in every car accident. Like, we can go too far with this stuff, guys. Like,
It's true, but this is today. Nick might change his mind tomorrow and be like, you know what? Just do away with it. No, who needs crumple zones, crash
look,
cars?
I have customers that literally buy pieces of seatbelts to put in so they don't have to wear their seatbelt and the thing doesn't ding at them, right?
Yeah.
So
there's also hacks for that, guys.
Yeah.
There's a couple of it's like a gate controller code on the Nintendo.
yeah,
Like
sometimes you can just pull a fuse in some older cars, all good.
or that.
I say this with great respect, guys, is like, I don't think any of us listening or myself want to be the people that don't understand how the real world works. That doesn't mean you can't have gripes about it, but some of the things have been a bonus. Most people walk away from car crashes today. You had points of time that was a lot higher number of people losing their life. Not everything has been bad that the government said, maybe don't put the gas tank in the trunk. People get rear-ended a lot. It costs a lot of explosions. I mean, okay, man. I mean, maybe they had a point.
What a time. What a time. Let's see. We'll do a few more here as we round out the hour. What are the problems I'm going to expect with my Jeep Gladiator in a few years? So far, so good. I will say I only have experience with one heavily modified Gladiator, which might end up making its way to the show sometime next year. So far, no issues. They use it for a lot of overlanding trails, Moab, intense stuff, all kinds of stuff. But I think it's going to go back to what's the maintenance look like? Like, how well are you taking care of it? Just like with anything, man. We like to, make fun of the Jeep people.
Jeep has a very up and down history with quality control. At times they do well. At times they do atrociously. I think it's going to be year to year of which one you own seems to be. And as a guy that's owned a lot of Jeeps myself in my history, I've had a lot of Jeeps, albeit I owned older ones that weren't really problematic at all. They weren't, but they didn't have a lot of moving parts. They weren't fancy. They had the round gauges, and I know people that do a lot of stuff with Gladiators, and I'll swear by them. I've had people that have had nothing but a horror story. If yours is rolling well, I'd say be meticulous about maintenance. Find out what things are problematic on the year that you own and probably just get to replacing it. Like if you have a cooling system problem that's known, might be time to just get you a new cooling system, right? It's sort of like what happens in a European car.
Absolutely.
Like once you buy an older European car and they go, this always happens, you just rip it out and put the new thing in that fixed the problem. And for some people, you've never owned platforms that was the reality. Sometimes that's the best thing to do is go research what are the problems of your year Gladiator and just preemptively go get the best fix that's in the marketplace.
All right, we'll end with this one question-wise. Thanks again to everybody that sent questions. We'll do some more next week. This was like probably the ultimate hang episode, which a year later is very fitting because that's what we love to offer to you guys. GMC AT4, remember the AT4, $116,000 truck? So I saw the video on the AT4 you talked about, and it was absolutely stupid to pay $118,000. Although it was, and I got it wrong, it was a $2,500, not a $1,500. So it was a Duramax. So in August, he bought, this is Richard, a 25 Sierra 1500 AT4 with a 3-liter Duramax. He paid $61,000. 61.
That sounds about right.
Right. So will dealers try to scam people with these overpriced packages and add-ons? Absolutely. But there's more reasonable dealers at all time. Just keep up the good podcasting. I thought he was going to say just keep up the searching. Like you always say, like just do your due diligence and you'll find the people that are not going to gouge you that way.
This again goes back to the middle ground. There are really horrible dealers in the world. Mm-hmm. There are really great dealers in the world. And so that means most of them are just average dealers, right? They're not really smart enough to gouge you as much as you think. But are some of the bad ones really good at gouging you? Yeah, man.
Pros.
But that's 20, 30, 40, 50 years of it. It's not new in 2025. And that's one of the things we want to get across is everybody thinks this last 5 years is somehow the reality of the car market at all times. It isn't. And we're seeing it normalized now, like we said it would. That doesn't mean every car is normalized. But I can tell you this. Go to, I think it's the LX 700 Overland might be the trim package. Those are steeply discounted already.
Over Trail, maybe?
Over Trail. Yeah, there you go. Those are not doing well in the marketplace. So they're discounting them already. yeah, man, you might find the GX 550 is not the reality inside Lexus brand. We certainly know our X's are not ever going on sale. They sell those every minute of every day.
Yeah.
But again, just inside one brand, you see that from model to model, trim to trim, there's different realities. Okay, do your due diligence. Buy nationwide. Don't just buy in your local area. Test drive in your local area, but if they're not going to do a deal with you at the price you want, somebody in Georgia and you live in Texas might give you the deal you want. They put it on a truck. I promise you, to everyone that's never done that, it's not a big deal.
Man, those things, 121 is what MSRP is, and I see half of them are in the teens. So
Yes.
half are sticking to 121 plus, and half of them are in the teens.
And my looking for some for customers, I bet there's some you could get for 109, 110. If you're willing to go in there, cut a check, willing to go in there with financing ready to go, no headache, let me walk out the door with it right now. Especially as December 31st comes around, there's going to be deals. And if you're in the market for a car, just so you know, the time between Christmas Day and the end of the year, you get some really motivated dealers.
Well, dude, again, 1 year Podiversary. Great episode, great hang. Tons of questions. We got through most of them, but we still have a lot of other ones. So if you want to send any kind of question, comment, email, clutchculturepodcast@gmail.com. And we're at clutchculturepod all over the internet. Hypercleanstore.com. You can get the hoodie, 15% off. BF. What's the code again?
BF15.
BF15, everybody. And along with all the other Hyperclean's products in the store. Limited stock. When we say limited stock, we're not just like saying that for like scarcity and urgency.
Yeah.
They really are limited. So if you want one, we've already sold a lot of them this morning. And this is being recorded a little bit early, but it's also going to drop a little bit early. So if you miss the opportunity, there will be more if they sell out, especially if they sell out. There'll be a lot faster of a restock. Dude, have a great Thanksgiving. Or at this point, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, left the politics out of it, had a good time.
Yep.
I'm going to be playing bucket golf for a couple of hours on Thanksgiving. So I'm looking forward to that with my siblings. I told them bring your wallet. I have a GOAT trophy that we pass around at holidays. I currently have the GOAT trophy from the last Olympic Games that we did, the summer games at my parents' house. So if I lose it, I might lose my spot on the podcast. But if I gain it,
you're bringing the trophy.
I'm gonna show the trophy on the podcast. So
all right, guys.
Hold me to it. All right, man. Take care.
See ya.